Hi everybody, it's Ellen. I am going to show you how to make this guy on one loom. I already have the tutorial up for making him on two looms, but of course as soon as I put him up and he was on two looms I had a lot of requests to make him on one. We'll do the best that we can. I think that we can make him exactly the same. It's just, it might be a little more difficult because there is, he does have two layers to him because it's the top and the bottom shell, and that both being on the loom at the same time kind of makes it a little difficult, and then with the making them in half it makes it a little more difficult. So hopefully this won't be too hard to follow, but we'll do the best, or I'll do the best that I can to explain it as well as I can. So we'll get started, and first we're going to start by making some parts for this guy. So we'll start with the legs, and I just take two bands, wrap it around my hook once, then just grab part of it, wrap it around a third time. Then we'll take two more bands and pull that through what we have on our hook. Like that. And put the other end back on our hook. And then two more bands, not that one, and pull those through as well. And that's all I really do for the legs. So we need to make 4 of these. So I'm just going to push this down my hook so it's out of the way. Take 2 more bands, wrap it around your hook once, grab a piece of it, wrap it around again, pull 2 bands through, put the other end back on your hook. So basically it's just a fishtail, double fishtail. 2 more bands, pull through, like that. So it's 2 legs. Take the band, wrap it around one more time. 2 bands, pull through. Two more bands. So there's 3 legs. Wrap it around one more time, pull 2 bands through, and then 2 more bands. So there we have the 4 legs. So just going to set this down for a moment, and we're going to go to our loom. I'm just leaving it in the normal setup. That way people who don't have the rainbow looms, they can see how you can make it this way as well. I think a lot of times, because I usually offset the loom for my Kaleidoscope patterns, that they don't realize that they can still make them, they just can't make as many on the loom. We'll just start here at the beginning. We're going to make his head now. So just place a band there. It's 2 bands. Then 2 more bands. And here. And then from the second pin, 2 bands kind of up and to the left. And then 2 bands to the right. And then go down on each side. And then come back to the center. Like that. And then we will put an end cap here and 2 bands wrapped around twice. And this kind of turns into his mouth when we're looming. So like that. And then we're just going to lay some cross bands. It's just one. I'm just going to lay a band across there and a band across here. And then what I do is I take the farthest side away from this pin and just pull it over. And the same thing on this one. I take the farthest side away from this pin and pull it over. Like that. So now we need eyes. Eyes are not as much fun to make. You can just use like a black pony bead with some white bands wrapped around it, and then we add some bands for the brow to kind of make that more prominent. But if you don't have any of those, or you could just do pony beads. But if you don't have any of those, I'll show you how to make the eyeballs. I take 2 bands, wrap them around my hook once, I grab all of it, wrap it around again, and then you can kind of see I wouldn't be able to grab all of it to get it around again, but I just grab half of it and pull that around. So we want it to be tight, but not like super tight that we can't pull it around and maneuver it on our hook. So, and then we're going to take 2 bands of the color of your head, and we're going to pull these through the center of this. And I usually just kind of twisting it on seems to help a little bit. So pull that through like that. Then what we're going to do is take 1 white band, which will be the outside of the eye, do a figure 8 with it on our hook, so wrap it around once, and grab the whole thing and twist it around again. Like that. And actually, I'm going to slide this on the other side. I should have taken it off my hook, but so now we're going to slide this over our pupil. It's kind of a little difficult, but so there's not really anywhere to hang on to. Slide that over, and then you just kind of separate this, pull one side on one side of the eye, and put the other side on the top. And you can pull out, like I kind of have it kind of goofy right now. So I'm just going to pull the top to try and make it a little bit more even with the bottom. Like that. Sorry, I think I keep going out of focus. There we go. So you have the cross in the back, and then the other 2 parts on the front of the eye. And then I just take, we have this brow here. I just take 1 band, we'll pull this off, 1 band the color of your turtle's head, and wrap it around your hook 3 times. Like that. Stick your hook back through here, and then pull that down. And you can adjust all these after they're on your turtle, and when you're finished, it's kind of a lot easier than when it's just on this little band here. So then what we'll do is we will attach, actually we'll just put this down for a minute, we'll make the other eye. So let's make sure they don't slide off. So put that one down, and we'll make the other eye. So the black bands again, 2 of them. Wrap it around your hook. Grab the whole thing. Wrap it around your hook again. And then just grab half of it and wrap it one more time. Like that. Now, I guess we'll try it this way too, but you can take your white band now, wrap it around the one time, grab the whole thing, and actually if you get it on the other side of the eyeball, now do that figure 8 twist. So it's on our hook like this. Sometimes this works better, sometimes it doesn't, because when we slide it off onto the other band it'll get messed up anyways, but it's another option for you to try. Maybe it will work a little better for you. So now we'll take the 2 bands that are the color of your head, and we want to slide those through. And it seems like there's always one band that gets stuck. And see, I flipped it over anyways. So you can readjust the eye parts. There, that's better. That's better. So now we'll just get that other band, the color of your turtle, wrap it around our hook 3 times for the eyelid part, and then we'll just pull that onto the top of the eye. Like that. And then we'll attach this to our turtle head here. Like I said, this will be the mouth, so you want the eyelids to be up here by this side. But you're just going to stretch it from this pin to the center pin. Like that. And do the same thing on the other side. Like that. Okay, so then we'll loom the head out. So I'll turn my loom around and we'll go in through our end cap here and loom off the 2 bands to the side. Grab the other bands on the other side. And then we'll just go up both sides to the top, to right here. Make sure you get through all of the little cross pieces too. So like that. And now we'll come up and do the center. And here's where you have a cross piece that you might miss if you're not paying attention. So just get down and get those 2 bottom bands. Pull that up and over. And then through, try and get my turtle feet out of the way here. Then go in through here and grab those last 2 bands. And I just cut one. Can never be easy. There are a lot of bands here, and I just broke the other one. So, catastrophe already. Alright, so if you have to do that too, it's easier. So now we can pull this little guy off the loom. Maybe. My pin bases are apparently loose. Alright. So there's our turtle head. You can adjust the pieces a little bit here, like the eyebrows, poke where you need them to, fix where the eyes are. What I think is kind of neat is because everybody's has different tension in how they pull the rubber bands and things like that, the eyes almost all look different on everybody's turtles. Like sometimes they look really mad, and sometimes they look like they're kind of like dumb little animals. So, but you can adjust these as you get further along too. But that's our turtle head. He's a cutie. So now, since we're going to be working on the end of the loom by the red arrow, just because it's easier, I'm just going to go to the other end of the loom and stick the head on down here on one of these pins. I'm still going to leave my feet on because they don't bother me as much. So, we're making the base. Zoom back out here. Okay, so with the laying of the bands, we're going to start with making the half hexagon. But first you want to drop a band here that will be the color of your perimeter for your shell. And then if you go up the hexagon pattern, another band here. So 5 pins up you'll drop. So those will just be for the next half, so it's a little easier, so we don't have to loom through other things. So now we're just going to start down here at this pin and go 2 to the left, 2 up, and then 2 to the right. Like that. And then we want to lay bands from the corners. The band that will be here, you want it to be the color of your turtle, because that'll end up being the tail. I know someone on Instagram had told me that they switched where the head and the tail were, and they thought it was easier for them to loom that way, and it probably could be, but I guess I'm just kind of stuck in my way right now, so I'm just going to leave it like that. But after you've made a turtle, you can certainly switch it around if you want and see how that works better for you. So that's the color of your turtle, and then the other ones are just whatever colors you want. Like so. Now we need to make kind of a star pattern here, or half star. Or just kind of a triangle in between. Like that. Then we need to fill the center with a partial starburst. start going around from this pin, go out to the other pins around it. Like that. And then we need an end cap here. You want it to be kind of tight so that it keeps the belly of the shell together tighter. It also helps with keeping some of the shape. I guess because I just made the tutorial for the other one, I'm kind of forgetting things to explain about this awesome little guy. But the top of the shell, it actually keeps its shape pretty well. You don't necessarily need to do anything different with it, but you can kind of open this guy up, and I just shoved a fishtail bracelet into the inside of him to keep the shell maintained, I guess, so it's always fluffy or fluffier. So it's kind of like a little secret pocket in the turtle. You can put whatever you want in there. Nothing too valuable because I don't know how secure it is, obviously. So, end cap, you probably want to wrap it around 3 times, 4 times if your band is really stretchy. So like that. And then we want to put our turtle legs on. And I guess for consistency, I did put them on underneath this band in the other tutorials, so I'll do that for this one too. So I'm just going to put it on here, and then I'll bring this band back up. It's very different trying to explain something on one loom that you've originally made on 2. So there's the other leg. I will say with the legs, if you want to have the legs poke out to the side, like these guys are, you just leave them this way. This turtle here, his legs are kind of underneath them. They're actually bigger legs, so it might look a little different if they weren't quite as tall, but if you want them underneath, you just turn your leg to the inside, and then they'll be underneath the turtle instead of out to the side. Alright, so now we're going to loom this side out before we go any further. So let's turn it around, excuse me, go through your end cap, grab whatever band is on top, and just pull it back towards itself. Like that. Now we'll loom out with my black bands, this kind of star pattern. And we'll loom that out through these kind of end caps that we made with the starburst. Like that. Oops, one more. And then we'll go and loom out our corner bands. Like that. And then push this down. And then we want to add our turtle head on here. So just come back and grab them. And we'll put them on the end here. Just like that. Now, this is where it's going to get a little tricky. So bear with me. I'll try and go as easy as I can. I think it's a little tricky on the original, so doing it on one loom will be a little trickier, so what I would like you to do is we need to drop a band on every pin around. We're going to use these in a little while to help raise the other shell to make it taller and puffier. It's actually, if you look at the turtle here, it's actually the white band right there. I don't think I've done any where I had a different color other than the perimeter, so we'll see how that looks. So you got bands on all the pins. Now we need to lay the exact same pattern that we did before, right over the top of this. So this is where it gets a little tricky, and trying to use some different colors here. So we want to go from the corners first, and this time just whatever colors you want. This is the top of the shell. So in the corners, just lay your band, and then you want to lay that star pattern that I laid in black, so you can kind of go right over the top of that with your next bands. Like that. And then the starburst. So just, and you'll notice I didn't turn my loom around. It really, because most of the bands are surface bands, and they're not directional like the outside is here. It doesn't matter which way the loom is turned when you're putting them on. So we'll just do our starburst. Like that. So we have the bottom part loomed, we laid our corner bands, or actually we dropped the bands all the way around, then we laid our corner bands, then we laid the star pattern, and then we laid the starburst. Now for this end cap, you want it to be a little looser, just so that the shell has the ability to kind of poof out. This guy's stuffed a little too much, that's why this one's so wide, but and plus if you want to stuff them, you have to be able to get in there. So probably just twice around will be good. That's usually all I do for the top of the turtle here. So now what we're going to do is loom out the top of the turtle. Make sure you don't catch the bands that are from the layer underneath. So you go in through your end cap and grab whatever band is on top and just pull it back towards itself. Like that. Now we'll do the star pattern. So let's go in through the end caps we created with the starburst center. Loom those out. Like that. Now we'll go and get our corner bands. Like so. Alright, so now this is the part that might get a little tricky with the one loom version, but we actually need to help make this shell taller. We're actually going to take everything that's in our top, we're just working on the top layer, but take everything that's in this top layer and we're going to capture it with this band and then pull off the top layer, and it's trapped between that band. Then we put the band that we dropped earlier, we put that back on the hook, or back on the pin. So we're just making a little bit more room for the turtle shell. So just go in through here, grab that band, put it on both sides of your hook, pull it off, and then put this band back on the pin. And we're going to do that for every one. So just the top layer, grab that band, pull off the top layer, and put it back on the pin. It's easier if you kind of pull the band so you can get in there and see it. And once you see it, the other stuff is getting in my way. You can just pull it up like you're going to loop it, put the other end on your hook, pull it off, and then put this band back on the pin. Like that. And we'll do the same thing in the rest of them here. Definitely easier in the corners because there's only the one band to do it with, but and like this one, you'll want to pull the band to the side. Just take your hook down in there, grab the band and pull it up, and put that on your pin. And the same thing for this one. Like that. So, once you have that, we can actually loom up this side of the turtle. So we'll do our perimeter. Go in there and grab that bottom band. Switch to a little sturdier hook. Mine is on its last little stress mark, so we just want to pull up the perimeter bands. And loop them over. Like that. So now we have the 1/2 or a little more than a half of the turtle done. So push these bands down as far as you can on the pins. If you're going to do a transfer, this is closed, these are closed, these are closed. So this is your only open part that you would have to really be careful of to do a transfer to make the rest of this. Because the rest of them you could just pull back out to where they need to be. Like I said, I'm going to take apart my loom just because it's a little easier for me to do it that way. So we're going to remove this row and this row. Make sure that this first row stays on your loom. Okay, so I'm going to turn this around, take my loom apart, switch these to the other side. I'll just maintain that same offset pattern from before. So that's what we have right now. Now here's where it's going to be a little tricky. So we'll do the best we can to differentiate between the two layers. So first we'll just lay our outside perimeter bands. So I have the red arrow down here. I'm just going to grab that band I dropped earlier and pull it up over the next pin. Like that. So then just go around with your perimeter, and then when you get to here you can pull the other band up and over like that. Now we've already laid half of the design on the bottom, and what I'm actually going to do, you don't have to do this, but I'm going to take off the top layer on this few pins for now so we can see our bottom layer better. So if I can hold it here. So we already technically have the middle, so we have the corner pieces. So we need the other corner pieces, and trying to maintain your color, which I think mine were white. So we need the corner pieces like that, and then we need the star on this side. You can start by just this band does need to go under here so that we can loop it through this part of the starburst that was open. So trying to, sorry, I'm going to be in the way for a second. I'm just pulling this up and over the pin like that. So it's underneath this part of the starburst from before, so we can loop that into the design. Then we'll just go around. And the same thing applies for this band between these pins. It needs to go under this part. Like that. And now we've already laid the starburst for these pins here. We just need to go from the middle to this pin and this pin. These also should be underneath the center of the guy. And before you say it, I haven't forgotten the legs. I'm going to end up putting them on the same way I did before, where I'm going to lift that band up. So, in all actuality, just pull these up over this pin. It is tight because we made it a little tight. Sorry, I gotta turn. Like that. So now you can see the design for the bottom. We only had to lay corner bands here and here. Then we laid the star pattern, but we had to go under the starburst from before on both of these bands here. And then we brought the extra starburst ones under this band. Now I'm going to put my legs on the same way I did before, where I did forget. So I'm just going to drop these bands off. This is pretty much my first time making figures, so hopefully it'll give me a little slack with remembering all the pieces. I didn't remember after we closed it, so that's pretty good. So one leg there, and the other leg will go here. in all fairness, my other tutorial went fairly well, so. Alright, so we got the legs on. Pull those bands back up. Like that. So now we can loom out the bottom. So we'll start over here at our starburst and grab whatever band is on top. And I'm actually going to turn my loom around, which will probably help a lot. Going through the starburst, grab whatever band is on top. Pull it back towards itself. Like that. And then we'll go in through each of the starburst end caps we created and pull up the next bands for the star part. And it's just one band here. Always something. And there's just one band here to pull over. And then we'll go and get the 2 corner bands we have. Like that. So now push all this down again. Now we're going to do the top layer. We want to drop bands again. Like I dropped the pink ones. We're just going to drop it on these bands right, or these pins right here. Because we already did the ones on this pin bar. Like that. Now we need to lay our bands again. And trying to remember my pattern from before. I think it was blue. We need to lay the corner pieces here. Oops. So the corner ones. And then we're going to lay our star pattern. This is why I left it off. Or took it back off, I guess. Because now I don't have to bring the bands under. Lay the star pattern. Like that. And then we just need 2 bands, or 1 band, to each of these pins for the center starburst. Like that. Now I'm going to put this stuff back on. So the center starburst, and the outside of the starburst, and then the other side of the starburst. Like that. So now we'll start looming. Start with the starburst center. Pull those out towards themselves. And we'll do our star. Like that. And then the 2 corner pieces. Like that. Now we have to do the drop band thing again here. So you just pull the band tight, stick your hook in through the center, grab it, pull it up, and then pop off that top layer and put the band back on the pin. And do that for the other bands. Like so. And just the top layer. Like that. So now we're ready to do the perimeter again. So go in through the end here and loom up the outside. Like that. Now I would recommend just taking a band and pulling it up through the center first. This turtle, the band I pulled up through the center was white, so I don't know if it'll make a difference what color you want to use. There's lots of different ways to close this, but I guess I'm still figuring out the best ways. I know the person who told me that they put the, I'm actually going to use two bands, told me that they switched the head and the tail, said it was a lot easier to close that way. Probably was. But I'm just going to pull two bands up through this center and get that on my hook, like so. Now we can take the turtle off. Alright, so to close the turtle, what I've been doing is kind of has a little thing through his neck right now. I've just been wrapping one end around the head, pulling that same band through the top band I had on my hook, and then I pull this tight and I wrap it around the head again the other way. Not the best way, but it's effective. There's no C-clips, so. And I would say that is a good success for a one loom version of something that I put on two looms. It's a little guy. And I have you can poof them out. Just be careful you don't break your band in here. That would be kind of bad. But I usually just put my fingers in there, stretch them out as best I can, get the base pulled out, and the little turtle. Looks pretty good. I'm happy. Hopefully you're happy, and hopefully you're able to follow what I was doing. It really is important to me that everybody's able to make my designs, because I like to create for everybody. So, but this I think is definitely good. Definitely it's just the top and bottom layer you need to watch out for when you're looming. That's probably going to be the biggest issue for this. So If you want to, I don't have a good fishtail, but you can just take a fishtail bracelet and you can just shove it in the top to maintain the size of it. This one's too big, I think. We'll find out. Maybe if I would have taken the button off, it would have worked better. We'll just shove that in the top of the turtle. And if you make the fishtail the same color as your turtle, then it definitely, you won't see it as much. So, that's what he looked like stuffed. And that was a pretty big bracelet actually, so I'm surprised that all fit in there. But this is my tutorial for my one loom Kaleidoscope turtle. I hope that he works for everybody, and I hope everybody can enjoy these little guys because they are definitely adorable. So thanks for watching, and I'll have more tutorials for you soon.